Studies on space-time and the vast discoveries of the universe are always fascinating topics. Today's podcast episode focuses on scientific research on time and the exploration of the universe. The key to success is practice all the time. Let English sounds fill your space naturally with podcasts. Make it a habit to listen to podcasts on a variety of topics anytime. And you will remember how to use vocabulary in everyday conversations.
Time travel. If you could travel to the past or the future, would you do it? If you could travel to the past, would you want to visit anyone? If you could travel to the future, would you come back to the present and warn people about possible disasters? Time travel, first presented in a novel called The Time Machine, written by H.G. Wells over 100 years ago, is the subject not only of fantasy, but of serious scientific exploration. About 100 years ago, Albert Einstein proved that the universe doesn't have 3 dimensions, but it has 4, 3 of space and 1 of time. He proved that time changes with motion. Einstein believed that, theoretically, time travel is possible. The time on a clock in motion moves more slowly than the time on a stationary clock. If you wanted to visit the Earth in the future, you would have to get on a rocket ship going at almost the speed of light, travel many light years away, turn around, and come back at that speed. While traveling, you would age more slowly. Einstein came up with an example he called the twin paradox. Suppose there is a set of 25-year-old twins, Nick and Rick. If Nick decided to travel fast and far on a rocket ship and Rick decided to stay at home, Nick would be younger than Rick when he returned. Specifically, if Nick traveled 25 light years away and back, the trip would take 50 Earth years. Rick would be 75 years old, but Nick would be 25 and a half years old. If Nick had a 5-year-old daughter when he left, his daughter would be 55 years old, so Nick would be visiting the future. Using today's technologies, time travel is still impossible. If you wanted to travel to the nearest star, which is 4.3 light years away, it would take 80,000 years to get there. This assumes the speed of today's rockets, which is 37,000 miles per hour. According to Einstein, you can't travel faster than the speed of light. While most physicists believe that travel to the future is possible, it is believed that travel to the past will never happen. Although the idea of time travel seems the subject of science fiction, not science, many discoveries and explorations, such as traveling to the moon, had their roots in science fiction novels and movies.
Exploring Mars. Mars, our closest planetary neighbor, has always fascinated people on Earth. If you watch a lot of science fiction movies, you see people from Earth meeting strange-looking Martians. But of course, this is just fantasy. In 2004, the Spirit rover landed on Mars to study the climate and geology of the planet and to prepare for human exploration. In 2012, the Curiosity rover landed on Mars. Its mission is to find out if there was ever life on that planet. One of the jobs of Curiosity is to figure out where a future mission should look for life. If enough information is gathered, astronauts will probably arrive on Mars by the 2030s. Travel to Mars will be much more difficult than landing on the Moon. When people landed on the Moon, they carried with them all the supplies they needed. But sending a spaceship with people and all the supplies they need for their time on Mars would make the spaceship too heavy. So if astronauts go to Mars, scientists will send supplies first. Many other problems will have to be solved too. Astronauts will have to return within a given time period. If they don't come back within this period of time, they will miss their chance of return. If astronauts have a problem with their equipment, They will not be able to rely on messages from Earth to help them. Because of the distance from Earth, it can take about 40 minutes from the time a message goes out from Earth until it is received on Mars. Also, a visitor to Mars will be gone for at least 3 years because of the distance and time necessary to travel there. But one of the biggest problems with traveling to Mars is the danger of radiation. Astronauts will be exposed to much more radiation than someone traveling to the moon. If you had the chance to go to Mars, would you go?